Hey, Ryan,
it.
why don't you pull up Amazon's margins real quick?
Well,
Yeah, I'd have more of a grin on my face than Stephen Hawking on Epstein's Island.
Knopf is a smug cock when he said that.
Wow, physical philosophy, you're not very smart at all. You screw up, cash flow kings. Guys. Dissector, you are an idiot.
Hello, everybody. It's Saturday. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. And on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, you could be doing a lot of things. Some pretty detrimental to your health when you say fiscal.
Yeah, you could be going out to the club, drinking $35 vodka sodas.
It's a lot of money on a credit card you could be putting on.
Yeah, at 29% interest. Now that's income.
That's income.
Or alternatively, if you don't want to waste your money, in fact, you want to increase your returns, not promising you will, because that would be illegal, but you could potentially get a better ROI coming right here and coming hard.
That's right. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, everybody. That's the best place to be on the Cash Flow Kings. Before we get into our special guest tonight, and trust me, we have a good one. First of all, follow our Twitch at Cash Flow Kings. We're going to be trying to post there more, and sometimes we'll do like spontaneous live streams. You want to be there. Also, follow our Twitter at Cash Flow Kings YT. All of our we have like a really like stacked follower list, but we don't have a lot of them. Well, but who cares though? So make sure to follow our Twitter and Twitch. Smash the like button right here also. But I will get to introducing our guest. And it's somebody we've been trying to get on the show for a while. There was conflictions of schedule, but all that matters is that he's here tonight. It's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Russ from Dapper Dividends. Welcome in, Russ.
What's up, boys? What's going on?
Not much. And Russ, I must say, you have one of the nicest setups too in Dividend YouTube. I will say.
I don't know. I haven't really compared all that much, but you know what? I'll take it. That's quite the intro you guys got there. I like it, man. I like it.
It's one of the most proud things that I've probably accomplished on YouTube so far was making that intro. It was the best 25 minutes spent of my life. And who's to say that there won't be any additions or upgrades to it? But Russ, we're matching tonight. We got the matching Blackhawks jerseys.
Hell yeah, man. But don't tell me you got a blank jersey.
No, it's a Clark Griswold jersey.
Okay, there you go. Good. Whew, got worried there.
Yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine when people get the blank jerseys, but hey, they do them and we do us, right?
Yeah. We already got Shamir in the chat. Today, Buffalo's being invaded by Canadians at the Leafs. Yeah, that's a funny thing because we are playing the Leafs right now. And whenever we do play the Leafs, not even joking, probably 70% of the stadium is filled with Maple Leafs fans. One, because the Sabres suck. But two, this is actually related to finance. Cheaper prices here in Buffalo than it is if they were to go to a Maple Leafs game. The prices are ridiculous on tickets up in Toronto. So we have a lot of Canadians come down here from that.
Beautiful.
But Russ, whenever we have a new guest on, we like to usually, for most of our viewers who aren't familiar with their game, as we say here on the channel, what's your channel primarily focused on? What kind of investing? Dividend growth, dividend yield, income investing, who knows? But what's your channel mainly focus on?
Yeah, pretty much passive income. Like I always say, I'm a welder that's passionate about passive income. So, hey, just evolving, learning, trying to improve, trying to focus. I guess cash flow, it's kind of like, I like your guys' name, Cash Flow Kings, because it's all about the cash flow. I mean,
cash flow is king. We do say that here all the time.
Yeah, I like focusing on the free cash flow because it's a little bit harder to financially manipulate. But, some companies like IBM, they'll do their adjusted free cash flow and things like that. But yeah, honestly, I'm trying to build more passive income coming in so I don't have to sell positions. And, I think that's where we want to be. I can have more of, Well, it's funny as I say that, and people that are familiar with me know I'm constantly learning. I'm always trying to learn. Like that's my trick, is to keep trying to challenge myself. And right, those are some of the hardest notions to break, are your previously held beliefs. But hey, if you can do it, it means you're a little bit closer to the truth, and that might be tying into. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Daniel Kahneman, wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. Him and Amos Tversky. He'd passed away in just over 90 years old. But yeah, that was one of his things, is that you should always, the person that you should doubt the most is yourself, because it is so damn hard to break your own preconceived ideas. And hey, we're working on it. So hey, happy to be here on a Saturday night. This is a rare appearance for me. So
I know, everybody. There was a lot of backstage negotiations. We didn't think we'd get them this Saturday. Quickly on 24-hour notice. This is the first time I think ever we've had a 24-hour notice guest. So, but we're happy to have you, Russ. And I'll say this too. I think for any of the viewers out there who are questioning maybe starting a channel, just do it. Because, one, you could, track your progress. Two, you don't do it for the money. You do it for the principle, love of the game here on the channel. But yeah, I think you got to be your own hardest critic. Have confidence, but also, don't be so arrogant where you can't learn new stuff.
Oh, and you're going to suck in the beginning. There's no way around it. You'll suck. You got to learn. But hey, if you don't get started, you're not going to get there. And like they said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with that first single step. So you got to take that first single step, which can be the hardest one to take, right?
And hey, if you don't look back on what you made a year ago and feel a little bit embarrassed by it, it means you're not progressing enough.
I like it. I'll drink to that.
All right, looking at the chat here, we like to always, if anybody has any questions for us, we'll go chat first. We also do have a few lined up here. We have Guff, which says like button, everybody, and that's true. You guys should smash the like button. We
Guff's
have Dividend.
a smart guy.
Yeah, he is. Dividend dude coming in says, yes, we do it for the principle here on the channel. Stabulo, Shamir, Uncle Cody, Citizen of the Year.
What's up, Cody?
John, I saw earlier. Alex. It's a full packed house here on the Cash Flow Kings. You know what I do say? If we have Shamir, John, and Frank in the chat at the same time, stuff goes down. Stuff goes down that we can't repeat. So Russ, what kind of got your? We'll start with, investing or YouTube, whichever one you want to answer first. But which one, what kind of got you started into investing in the first place? I'm going to assume you've been investing for longer than you've been doing YouTube. What kind of got you started, investing in the first place?
Well, if you want to call it intelligent investing, that was probably around the fall of 2018. My first 401k was in 2003. So that's, I don't know. Technically we're all investing, and that's kind of a beautiful part about it, is that a lot of people that don't have a clue what they're doing are still investing. They're still owning businesses. I'm fond of Ben Graham. Like he said, you got to think of stocks as parts of a business. They're actual parts of a tangible business that you're owning. So thankfully, from the invention of mutual funds, everybody can experience that. And what a great place when you have about 8% growth, right, in the market on average, 8 to 10. Some say 10. I know Dave Ramsey says more, but anyway,
12%
for me,
good growth stock mutual funds.
Yeah.
Ave Maria mutual funds.
Yeah, there you go.
Just ask your SmartVestor Pro about it.
Oh, you guys, I love it. You should start your own. What? No, we got AI now. I guess I was gonna say you do pretty good Daves out there. Yeah, anyway, so pretty much the short story of it is I just had a random thought one day that, I think I'm going to get into the stock market. I'm going to learn it, and I'm probably going to conquer it and do very well. It might take me like a year to learn. And I started out with penny stocks, and that did not work very well. Moved into swing trading, and that, at least taught me how to read a chart. But charting is kind of voodoo. It's more of an art, and it's not a science. But yeah, if you look at the chart, Warren's famous of saying, turn it upside down, you probably get the same outcome. But it is kind of the language of the recent moves, at least. But yeah, swing trading didn't work. I was in NEO. You guys know NEO. Got it at the IPO in September of 2018 and rode that son of a gun all the way down to a little under $2 a share, and kept averaging down. Oh my God, I was losing sleep. I would wake up when the pre-market opened at like 4 a.m. and watch just to see what it was going to do. And I was like, this isn't sustainable. I'm losing sleep. It's all I can think about. So actually one night I was thinking about my grandfather, who he was an investor. And unfortunately, we never really talked much investing. But I do remember one time talking about Walmart and Disney and saying they paid good dividends. So there I am, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I Googled dividends, and it was kind of like, Alice Meet the Rabbit Hole, and down I went, and I'm still down there, and started a channel in 2020. I think it was March or April, right during when everyone was locked down. I still had a job I went to, but yeah, I just figured, you know what, we're not doing anything anyway. So kind of like a lot of people did. They had these COVID channels that they all began. So. And I am not the SCHD guy. I do invest in SCHD. I see dissectors saying that. But yeah, it's one of my top holdings, not the tippy top holding. I guess we can break it out. Like I don't really mention our 401k stuff, but what I do share on the channel, there's 3 portfolios. And, if I consolidate those, the top holding is Nextstar Media Group, actually, ticker NXST. Oh. That's our top holding. So, but I think SCHD is like 4, something like that. I think 155 shares.
Yeah, I'll say this with the SCHD. The SCHD hate, in my opinion, has been unreal recently. And I don't know if you've seen it either with SCHD. When they were outperforming the market in 2022, early 2023, everybody was loving it. They had dividends. They had the dividend growth. They were outperforming the market. But, all of a sudden, NVIDIA happens and they're underperforming. And I just think it's kind of crazy to see the crazy fast, switch up when it comes to the SCHD sentiment.
I'm not surprised. It's just wisdom of the crowd. I mean, people get social proof. And when you see every YouTube channel talk about how great and extolling the virtues of SCHD, and it's great and amazing. And it's just, again, it builds on itself. It's social proof, and people just pile into something. It's like watching a herd of cattle, which is why some of the best investors and things that you can do is to have your own convictions, irregardless of what anybody says. Because if you were to own a farm and you bought it knowing what it was going to produce, and you had an idea of what it was worth, and you had some lunatic, manic neighbor next door who liked to drink, sometimes he's drunk, he wants to buy your farm or sell you his, shouting out prices every day, you don't have to do anything. But just because somebody's yelling prices to you, like, right, our stock market is an open cry market. It's an auction. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but too many people get wrapped up in the price that's being quoted every day. And yeah, like your house, wherever you live, you don't get quotes every single, well, not every minute, but while the market's open, the equivalent of that. So it's just so damn important to try to protect yourself against the herd mentality and knowing what you own and grabbing something and owning it because you have built your own conviction in it. And it's, again, Ben Graham, like he said, the market should be there then to serve you and not instruct you. And if you're selling because the price is falling, then that means the market is instructing you, and you're probably doing it wrong. So, yeah.
I was lucky enough day one to have installed into my head that when stocks go down, it's good and it's an opportunity to buy more. I'll forever be grateful for that because my dad kind of installed that into my head. He also told me to buy VF Corporation. So we're even there.
Everybody loves to throw out the Buffett quote that says, buy when there's blood in the streets, buy, when everybody's fearful, be greedy, and when everyone's greedy, be fearful. Yeah, to a point. I mean, Enron, that didn't work out so well. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, things like that. So yeah, there is, like all things in life, there's a caveat. You can't there's no blanket statement for everything. So but it just knowing what you own and why you own it is one of the very first steps that if you are going to venture into the world of individual stocks, that's something you have to, even ETFs, right? They all have their methodologies.
While we're on the topic of SCHD, the recent reconstitution happened, and I saw a lot of people were not happy with Broadcom more specifically, and some of the other stuff they sold out of. I know they added Dix, they added Hershey. They also sold out of some other higher growth options that a lot of people
they sold out of.
Yeah, people were not too fond of it. And I think one thing that some people didn't understand is that there's actually qualifications that it's not like somebody manually goes and picks the stocks for SCHD. Yeah. If the yield is below 0.75% or whatever. So what are your thoughts on the recent reconstitution, Russ?
Not surprised. Again, you're buying the methodology and not the individual stocks because the methodology is going to dictate what goes in and what is held by the ETF. But I will say that SCHD and the people at Schwab that, it lists their fund. I think they have 4 fund managers on it. They do follow the Dow Jones 100 index, Dividend 100 index, whatever it's called, 90%. They give themselves like 10% wiggle room to invest in things that aren't in there, some cash securities and various things. But overall, 90% they're going to follow it. So I'm not surprised at all. And it's just what you get. Broadcom and Williams-Sonoma, to pick out those two, shot up in stock price. And dude, their yields fell. The yields fell below the threshold that would keep them in SCHD. So it's just, again, when you're buying an ETF, and I think a lot of people might now start be understanding like, oh yeah, we're buying the methodology that's putting stuff into the ETF and not the individual stocks. So
Yeah.
I hope if anybody, hopefully you don't sell Broadcom and you bought SCHD because it was in SCHD. It's definitely going to be a learning lesson.
Yeah. And plus, if you want to armchair quarterback the fund managers or whatever, just pick your own stocks, then don't buy the ETF.
Yeah. So with SCHD, what I'm personally doing is I bought SCHD during 2022. My average cost per share is about like $70, $71. It's nothing wild.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is I am kind of realizing that looking at the holdings and the qualifications, it's probably not going to outperform the S&P 500. I think it would be kind of, wild to expect it to produce some like 12, 14, 15% gain every year. I still could foresee myself using the dividends in, 10, 15 years maybe. So what I did this week, everybody, and this is live breaking news, I started an SCHG position. So hopefully the SHG and SHD, can't believe I got that out. Hopefully that combines together pretty well and, let the compounding begin.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. The Roth, we're working on the Roth still, Ritz. It's some turbulations going on there. That's another big reason I didn't buy SPY or more likely VU.
Got to get that earned income, buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I have it. It's just under the table. We don't speak of that out here on the cash flow.
Jesus, what are you, like being paid in cash with a gun on the table or something? My God.
Hey, it's we refer
He's been
to it as a
watching
business.
Sopranos a lot lately. Okay, that's all I'll say.
Yeah,
We refer to it as the business.
Waste
No, I do
management.
like lawn mowing for neighbors, and it's nothing that cool yet. Nextstar Media, that is one of the most coveted stocks covered on your channel. For some folks who may not be familiar with Nextstar Media, what's your thesis on it? What kind of got you researching it in the first place? Share with us.
Yeah, so it was honestly the dividend growth I was attracted to. They've raised the dividend by 25% for 10 straight years. And that's so the dividend growth attracted it to me. And there's kind of a saying out there that you should chase profits and not yield. Now, you can be attracted to a yield. You can, like the bright, shiny thing you can look at and go investigate it. But yeah, as I dug into the company, their founder, Perry Sook's been with the company since 96 when he started it. And it's just, it's people think it's a melting ice cube because it has over 200 broadcast stations, but they have growth incentives. They got the CW, the C-dubs off Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery, I think it was. It's escaping me right now. They got a 75% ownership for nothing. It was free. They basically absorbed all of its debt, and they're completely turning it around. They have a new chief operating officer who's come over from Fox, and he's trying to turn the CW into like a baby Fox with a lot of sports programming. They got the SCC, college football and basketball. NASCAR Xfinity is starting in 25. They got WWE, NXT. So they're trying to really grow it because it's free. It's all free. They're just trying to turn it into an iteration of how Fox was. But yeah, that they have News Nation, which is like they're trying to grow it to be the biggest independent news network. They don't want to be right or left, just right down the middle. So that's growing. And then ATSC 3.0 is it's called NextGen TV. The simplest way to explain it, it'll be a broadcast signal to any device that's within range of the tower, and it's interactive, and it can be interactive for every device. And Nextstar Media Group will pretty much be the toll road. They'll have almost 50% of the coverage in the country for ATSC 3.0. Now, yeah, you're going to need a new receiver, new TV, whatever, that's coming. So that's probably a few years out, but there are some growth vectors there. And again, I love their CEO. I love what he's done. And you're kind of betting on the jockey here. And, God bless Charlie Munger, because he's taught me about mental models, and you have to have a lot of different mental models. And it's so hard to, we want to put an intrinsic value on things and take the discounted cash flow from years out into the future and give a price today, a nice and tidy price. But there's change always happening. What works today is probably not going to work tomorrow. There's always, your mode is under attack. And, you just have to think every business is a living, breathing entity, and any living, breathing entity's first order of business is its own survival, right? Unless it's suicidal. So, by the way, I just heard, and probably not many suicidal tendencies fans in there, but they used to say that suicidal. So, anyway, see how easily we distract ourselves here. But so the point being, I'm betting on management because there's things that can't be quantified in a spreadsheet like that. So, I mean, you kind of bring a mental model of, molecular biology or Darwinian survival of the fittest type thing. So I don't know how you do in 5 years. Again, Blockbuster Video kind of in their sphere. People loved it. I mean, I know you're not old enough, Ryan. I don't know if.
I know a little bit about going to Blockbuster on a Saturday night before we were doing this show, of course.
There you go. Yeah. Dude, we used to go there. Everybody went to Blockbuster, so it would have been really easy to run a discounted cash flow model for Blockbuster and go out 10 years. But Reed Hastings, they turned him down. That's a fantastic story. I don't know if you guys are aware that he basically was trying to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. And they turned him. They essentially laughed him out. They're like, why would we give you money? This is
weren't they only trying to sell it for like 10 million or something absurd?
I don't know the number. It was really low. And dude, that just lit a fire into Reed Hastings. He's like, I'm going to take them down. I'm going to take the giant down. And yeah, so they spurned him and look out. But yeah, so anyway, the point is that's one of the other intangibles is I really like their management team. And when you invest in a business, you're investing in that management team because they're the ones that are going to be making the decisions and trying to grow the share price, grow what your money is invested into. So if, as you said with VF Corp, lousy management. WBD is one I sold out of. Dude, they dropped HBO out of the HBO Max and they went with Max. Yeah. And that's dumb. I'm sorry. I know David Zaslav is the CEO there and he was at AT&T, but how do you, everybody knows what HBO is. So there you go. You sometimes betting on the jockey, you got to have conviction also. The point being is, I know it's a really long-winded way of saying it, but there's just so many variables and factors, and it's going to be different for everybody to develop your own conviction into these businesses that are out there in the wide world. So,
and that's why you buy VU, everybody. That's why you just buy VU and chill.
Yeah, our biggest holding is in VVIAX. It's a Vanguard large cap value fund. Then we have the equivalent of kind of like the NASDAQ fund, the mutual fund side of it through Vanguard as well. But yeah, I mean, it's, boy, you got to be really confident to think you can beat the market. But anyway, it's the game you're playing. What game are you playing? And like I thought of it when you said SCHD isn't going to be at the S&P 500. Some years, yes, some years, no. But honestly, the goal of it is not to beat the S&P 500. It's to have a stream of passive income, growing dividends, and kind of like a more defensive play. So I would say that it's
a respectable return,
Absolutely. Has good dividend growth, though, over the last few years. We'll see if we can keep it up.
Here on the channel, we're not big fans of John Stanky and Zaslav from AT&T. That I'm lucky enough where I got out about flat on AT&T. I feel like that was a phase for every dividend investor, the AT&T phase. You're collecting that 7-8% yield every quarter. That's where you're going to get your return from, and then the price appreciation.
It's free money, don't you know?
It is free money. Steve, welcome in, Steve. He asked Russ, is that new interactive cable going to be on cell phone towers? It will be on their own towers.
Yeah, ATSC 3.0. So it'll be a broadcast signal. And again, Nextstar Media has a lot of broadcast towers. So it's going to be broadcast everywhere. You know, anybody wants to look. There's videos done on it. ATSC, the entity that is behind it, has a really cool, maybe like, it's a cartoon. It's probably 2 minutes. Really easy to understand. It just kind of gives you the real high level overview of it there. But yeah, it's coming. It might be a few years, but it's going to be an interesting thing to have. I mean, it'll be able to wake your TV. It is a little 1984-ish that, so, you know, it could wake your TV up if there's an emergency, you know, polling data, just anything. It'll be two-way interactive. Sports betting is one thing. You know, if you're watching a football game, you can just bet right on your TV is one of the, but there's infinite applications that are going to be available to it. But that's a few years down the line. So.
Dress asks, is Russ's love for suicidal tendencies what attracted him to Pepsi? All he wanted was a Pepsi.
Okay. I don't know if you guys get that reference. Mike Muir, the singer. So no, I do remember that though. I was in grade school when suicidal was big, and I wasn't supposed to be listening to him, but we did, you know, we did.
Could be some people listening to the Cash Flow Kings live every Saturday. There could be some kids in here, Fiscal. We got to keep it rated PG-13.
All right. I'll do my best.
Dividend Dude comes in and says, I think outperforming the S&P 500 is certainly not easy, but some thinking and figuring the edge versus where the market can be done. Yeah, I think you're also going to need to do it on a long time, you know, horizon, you know, 15, 20, 30 years, because that's where that compounding really takes into place. And that's where I think, for my plan at least, God willing, you know, I'll be able to let that money compound for a good 30, 40, 50 years and right into the sunset.
That's one of the secrets, man. That time horizon, that long time frame.
While we're on the topic of free money, I'm sure you've been hearing all about these YieldMax funds recently and the high income ETFs. What are your thoughts on them? Do you own any? Any thoughts there?
I won't touch them. It's a gimmick. I think it's a gimmick to. So when you put it this way, as somebody in my younger years that spent a lot of money in casinos and gentlemen's clubs, I can say confidently that those two places are designed to separate as much money from you as possible from the time you go in until the time you leave. And I kind of get the same feeling from a lot of these YieldMax funds, and they're enticing people, you know, they're enticing people with those super high, sky high yields, and it's coming from somewhere. And if it was that solid and that good, everybody would invest in it. But if you notice, and I keep a distant eye on them, their net asset value keeps eroding. And I think that's because they're returning a portion of your capital to you. So instead of getting a return on capital, which is awesome, they're giving you a return of capital, which is going to naturally just decline the net asset value. So
yeah, you know, it's funny about that. Like I've been looking, and you know, considering it's such a good deal, I expected Warren Buffett would put all of Berkshire's cash into it because it's free money and it's such a high yield.
Warren Betty.
But it turns out that that their cash is in treasuries, just like every other, you know, organization that has a big pile of cash. That's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to learn a hard lesson, and there's a big expense. It's over 1% expense ratio.
It's 0.99. Right? It's 0.99%.
Yeah,
so
it's
almost 1%. Yeah.
What do they care? They're making their money. Good. I mean, I think it's great for YieldMax. Honestly, I don't know, but if I could invest in YieldMax, I would try and do that. But
we are putting the portfolio on it.
So it's also like I did the math on like, you know, how much is in just one of their funds. Mm-hmm. And just on the Tesla fund, which is one of the more popular ones, YieldMax is collecting about $50 million a year in fees on that. And the thing is, if you add up like the paid distributions over the last year and look at the NAV erosion, it's basically if you reinvested, like you would be almost exactly even. And they're just taking their 1% while breaking even over the course of time. And it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
Well, it's kind of like investment managers' fees. That 1% adds up. If you have $1 million portfolio and you have a 1% fee, that's $10,000 a year. 10 years, you've just paid somebody $100,000. That's not going to be compounding and working in your favor. So yeah, it's again, you have to know what you're investing in, and too many people, because I know it happened to me, get sucked in by yield.
Yield and getting that first dividend payment. Shamir comes in and says he gets a kick out of YT commentators who claim they've gotten tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars from these distributions and those YieldMax funds. So funny and entertaining, especially when it's on margin.
They may have, but like their total value is probably even or down. I mean, maybe if they caught it at like just the exact right time, they might be up. But like we're talking like it might be up for a few months, you know, but it's not probably going to be up in the long run.
Yeah, and they
So
just
Russ,
did a reverse split too. So
yeah. So Russ, I don't know if you know this, but we currently have some legal betting odds for a merch discount. So we basically are trying to, we think, you know, when could YieldMax possibly implode? Because I don't know if you've been paying attention to it much. There's some very cult-like communities, to say the least, regarding, you know, YieldMax. And unfortunately, it preys on a lot more, you know, senior citizens, vulnerable people, even people with disabilities, you know, who have, you know, are in those communities, are saying thank you for the help or whatever. And, you know, the 60-70% yield or whatever you're getting, it's very misleading for people who either don't know any better or don't know, you know, anything about investing. So, you know, very worrisome there. But do you have any predictions on if they'll implode, you know, when it could potentially happen? Because we had the coach on last week who's pretty familiar with YieldMax, and he interviewed the fund manager, and even the fund manager said on a risk scale, you know, 0 to 5, it's a 4.5 when it comes to risk. And you have some people who are putting their net worth in it, and it's just unfortunate at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, you know, par for the course on Wall Street, where sometimes it just helps to be a better salesperson than it does to be an investment or fund manager. And if something can be sold, it will be sold. It's just that simple, and it's always going to be that way. And it's, people got to learn hard lessons. But as far as when they might implode, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to say. It's all going to be based on people. As long as people keep buying it and staying invested, and they can take a cut. Now, I don't know what else YieldMax does. I don't know if I think it was a joint venture though that they. I don't know. I never went too deep into it. I probably spent half an hour looking at it, and I was like,
Smart
this
man.
is not for me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else they do, if they have other ETFs or if it is just the high yielders.
I think it's mostly, because like if you go on their website, it'll have like the list of them, and it's Tesla, Coney, Nvidia, you know, the whole 9 yards. I think there's like 10 or 11 of them now. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but they've got pretty much on all the like volatile popular tech stocks, they have one of them pretty much.
Well, and that's also where the premium's at. I mean, I'd love to see if they're going to do one on Procter and Gamble, you know, which hardly moves at all. But yeah, it's all the high flying, because obviously I don't know how many people watching are you guys that deal with options, but I mean, the biggest option premium reside in the land of things that really have a lot of price volatility. So that's why, again, like an AT&T or a Procter & Gamble, like they don't have that much premium involved, because the price really doesn't swing that violently one direction or another.
And that's where those high yields are really coming from, is that volatility. And the problem is that volatility can swing both ways, and you can get caught with your pants down extremely easily, because they don't even have any shares. They have all synthetic positions that they then sell options against their options. So it's like the downside risk, like because options are leverage, it's like, it's almost like the downside risk is amplified while the upside is capped.
Yeah,
in a sense. Yeah.
People can replicate it without, you know, like some of these ETFs, just buying options.
If you understand it that well, well enough to say this is a good strategy, you should probably just do it yourself, skip the 1% fee.
Yeah, I mean, if something's trading at $100 and you can buy an option for $50, that's already in the money. Like that's your double leverage, right? So, yeah.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people know what they're investing in with some of these, and we pray for them. Eddie comes in. Welcome in, Eddie. Everybody gets burnt one day. These YieldMax guys are going through greed instead of being patient. They want to get rich overnight quick. I think that's another really misleading thing. You know, they're saying things like, I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I don't know when I could die. Yeah. It's usually the people who are in their older, 50s,
Well,
60s that are saying
yeah.
it.
Well, the thing and the other thing that it sort of bothers me because like in addition to like the people that are maybe on the older side that didn't start planning ahead earlier, there's also a lot of people that maybe like he talks about like the blue collar workers that are in his community too and brags about that. And it's like, hey, a lot of people in blue collar fields, they literally do have like a time limit on how long they can work because their work's physically demanding. And so like having them waste those years of saving by burning the money in YieldMax is like it's disgusting to encourage them to do that. If you have an audience, like you have kind of a responsibility not to throw them to the wolves, I think.
Yeah.
It goes along. If it feels too good to be true, then it's going to be too good to be true. But you know what, guys, I mean, human nature. Rick Guerin, a lot of people don't know who Rick Guerin is. Rick Guerin was one of the early partners with Buffett and Munger, and he ended up having this because he messed around with leverage. He wanted to amplify things, get rich quick, and nobody's heard of Rick Guerin, but it just goes to show what trying to get, like Buffett says, he didn't want to be patient. That was his problem. He wanted to get rich quick. So yeah, it's unfortunate. If human beings, it's in human beings' nature to want to find shortcuts. We don't want to wait, and you don't want to hear that you can get rich, but it's going to take 30 years of this one predictable, repeatable action. People just want like quick, like 6 months, and it's today's hyperactive society. It's just everybody wants things like the immediacy of now, I guess.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Welcome in, Chris. We can always appreciate somebody that's swollen comes into our comment section. That's definitely a way to get your comment replied to. He loves buying crypto and won't touch those high yields. Russ, I'm pretty sure I already know your answer, but do you own any crypto? Do you have any thoughts on crypto?
I have a smidgen of crypto, and I thought it's interesting, but I probably had almost 1%. And of course, because I wanted to get crypto dividends, I put it into Celsius, where I got a fraction of it back. But honestly, I mean, and I had a feeling what it was when it came out, because at one time I wanted to be a gold bug. I was convinced back in coming out of the great financial crisis. If you guys are familiar with Dr. Doom, oh my God, I forgot his name. He's a big gold bug. Somebody out there in the chat will know. I can't believe I forgot his name, but yeah, he convinced like you got to buy gold. But honestly, gold is just, it's a non-productive asset. What's that?
It's there. It's just sitting there.
It doesn't do anything. They dig it out of the ground in South Africa and they transport it and then they put it in the ground under Fort Knox. It just sits there. It doesn't produce anything. It has no productive capacity.
Shiny rock.
If you have 1 ounce of gold, if you have an ounce of gold, 50 years from now, it's still going to be an ounce of gold. 1,000 years from now, it's still going to be an ounce of gold. So it's, it doesn't produce anything like a farm would. So give me things that are productive and have cash flow,
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I know a few people that are like really obsessed with like stacking silver coins and stuff. And it's like, man, like that's not like if like the whole like system goes to crap, like those silver coins aren't going to save you, bro. Like, I'm sorry. But I do remember after the big financial crisis, like 2010 or so, you started to see the Discover Channel put on all those gold mining shows, Gold Rush Alaska, Jungle Gold, Bering Sea Gold, because like everybody was obsessed with gold right after the crisis, and I think it's with some people it's just stuck to this day.
But again, people are told, and the problem with it is that the only way that it'll be productive is if somebody pays you more for it than you bought it for. That's the only way you're going to make money on it. Yeah, I understand some people, I don't know, maybe there's some scheme out there you can loan it or whatever, but it just has it's a non-productive asset. It produces nothing. It's not like, you have an ounce of gold and it's going to fart out gold dust that you can scoop up and melt down.
Wouldn't that be something?
Exactly. But like, that's what a business does. It spits off cash. Gold doesn't do that. And yeah, they say it's a safe haven, but honestly, the biggest asset protection is your own human capital, your own knowledge, your own skill. I mean, ultimately, that is what is going to. I mean, because think about it: if you're like your town's best neurosurgeon or brain surgeon or heart surgeon, you bought that education in yesterday's dollars, and it keeps up and it paces inflation. And even if the dollar collapses, we go back to trading in seashells. Well, people are going to need heart surgeons, so they're just going to get a bigger amount of seashells. So it's going to that's probably the very best hedge against inflation is yourself and your own earning capacity. But yeah, I mean, it's just if you compare gold to just the S&P 500. Over any long period of time, it doesn't hold a candle because it can't. You have businesses that are innovating and growing their earnings, and it's just such a wonderful thing. But I don't know. I know we got a lot of people that like gold and the precious metals and things, and it'll probably always be that way.
Dan comes in with a clarification. Costco does sell gold on their online store.
Yeah.
Guff
Well, they sell
owns a
everything.
gold miners ETF. Guff does discuss gold a lot.
Well,
There
you
you go. That so
gold
gold
miners
miners
are
are
better
kind
than-
of gold miners are tied to if you want to invest in gold, that might be a way. Like Barrick Gold and Agnico, I think, are a few of the gold miner stocks. And again, they're going to kind of follow the price of gold, because if gold spikes in price and they're digging it out of the ground, they're going to be able to make more money when they sell it, what they found. So they're going to bring in more money. So that's kind of why you see gold miners that will tend to, but at least they're a business, and some of them have exposure to copper and nickel and other things like that.
Theresa coming in with a great point, which is hit that like button for us
There you
all right
go.
now. It's about the 47-minute mark. And while we're on the topic of gold and companies, farting out cash, let's talk about Starbucks. Now, Russ, I don't know. Do you own any Starbucks?
I do own Starbucks. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So Starbucks, I feel, is like one of the only companies right now that I view as, relatively high quality, solid dividend growth that isn't, spiking up in price. It's actually like going down. Now, one could make the argument they're dealing with some very short to medium term issues. Have you been buying any more Starbucks recently on the dip? Any thoughts on some of the current situations that are going on right now? We could talk about the unions. I'd love to.
Yeah, I've been adding a little bit here and there. So I think they got a good CEO, Laxman Narasimhan. He came over from a company called Reckitt Benckiser, it's kind of like I don't want to call it a Procter and Gamble-ish of Europe. They do a lot of I think they have somebody correct me, don't they have Trojan? I think they have stuff like that. They just have, consumer goods. But anyway, so he, I think he's taken them in a good direction.
I love Laxman.
Yeah. But honestly, one of the I think the reason they're dropping is just because of China. That tensions are flaring with China, or not flaring, but it came out that troops on the border and what's going to happen. Are they going to invade Taiwan and this and that? I think, they'd be kind of shooting themselves in the foot if they do. Then there's going to be sanctions put on them like there was with Russia. And I think the problem with that is if that happens, the Chinese government is just going to confiscate everything that Starbucks has. And I think it would be a complete loss of property and equipment. And it would just be a complete loss. So that's been one of their really big growth drivers. So I think that's why Starbucks isn't participating in the recent market rally. It's just kind of stuck right around $90, $91, $92.
Yeah.
So I think that is I think that's the main reason is the concern over China, because they just really want to push hard into that Chinese economy.
I saw something because I went over the earnings call a few months ago, and there's a Chinese town with, I believe, a 410,000, population. They don't even have a Starbucks there. So there's crazy growth to be had in China. Me and Fiscal have talked a lot about China here on the channel. A lot of people are kind of squeamish over it. Starbucks probably isn't the greatest stock for you. What percentage do you think would actually, from your perspective, of Starbucks actually having the Chinese government intervene and shut down all those properties?
Oh, it would just, if we sanction against them, I mean, it would
Yeah.
have to be if they're going to fortress China and cut themselves off. I mean, that's what they would be doing effectively. I think that's the delay in the writing on the wall. And I'm sure they're probably, wargaming what that would look like, those scenarios, because they know right away there's going to be a price to pay for going after Taiwan. But I don't know. I mean, but the Chinese, a lot of the world plays checkers. They play 100-year chess. They think in centuries, while a lot of us think in months or years.
Yeah.
But as a percent, dude, I don't know. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a geopolitical macro event that
I
I
know.
don't know if anybody can be able to accurately predict that. But I think it just ties it into why you just focus on businesses you know and understand. And honestly, but that you bring up a good point. You're taking the unknown risk of investing in for me, I've never been to China. I only know what I read. So I don't fully understand and comprehend like Chinese society and how integrated they are with business. I know that they're supposed to be communist, but they favor and they've opened the door for capitalism. So it's just a concern. I don't think it would sink Starbucks. I mean, they're all over the world, but it would definitely hurt. And I don't know if this is kind of like a half pricing in of what that might be, but for sure, I mean, it's a concern people have with Starbucks.
Another issue is the unions, which we talk a whole lot about on the channel. Now, they really started up in like 2021. They actually started in Buffalo. The Starbucks right near my gym. It was actually one of the first union locations. So every time I go there, I give them a dirty look. No, but in all seriousness, it's not that I'm anti-union, because I think that I actually wrote an article on this for school, and I'm pro-union, but I just believe the workers are they're out of their line. I understand this country runs on workers. I think unions are great for workers like UPS drivers, teachers, nurses, people who are very functional society. But if you look at some of these asks and some of the statements that the unions for Starbucks at least have been making on behalf of the company, it gets my blood boiling a little bit as a shareholder.
Well, I mean, a union is a third-party labor organization, right? So they're just kind of an intermediary trying to get, and unfortunately, the union has to get paid, the workers have to get paid. So unionization is a cost of business. So it's a very real cost that has to be factored in. And I don't, I think you're right. That is definitely one of the other reasons why Starbucks, we don't know how big it would go. I mean, if it's, it's not a national union, right? That they're part of yet, but
no.
I don't know. But anywhere that there's money, they're going to try and get in there and try and, like, I remember with the Amazon, that was a whole big thing that the unions kept trying to get in there, kept trying to get into Tesla. So, they're just, again, they're hungry. They're another living, breathing entity, and they want to eat. They want to get fed. So they're trying their best and doing what they do. But it's a cost of business. It's labor is a cost. It's a very real cost of business.
I think the one thing that kind of puts it out of line for me personally is that the Starbucks pre-union, they already had like insane benefits. Because when you think of like a Starbucks worker or barista, obviously not like a franchisee or somebody that's a manager or whatever, it's most likely a high school or college student, somebody in their 20s. And, I'm not going to say that they're out of line, but the pay and benefits, I believe it was $17.50 an hour above minimum wage. But if you compare that role to maybe the same role that you'd have at like a mom and pop, restaurant, or maybe a local pizzeria, you're getting way more. You're also getting like healthcare, Starbucks company stock, paid time off, vacations, like insane benefits. Like I was even shocked. Like I'm considering working at Starbucks for a series. Everybody, Guff recommended that in the chat. I swear to God.
Honestly, I had a buddy that was he was a barista like part-time when he was in college, and he said that like Starbucks took really good care of their workers and it was a really great place and he loved working there and stuff. So it's not like they're out there like like throwing them in the coal mines where they're getting black lung or something, so they need to unionize because the workplace is so horrible,
Yeah.
Well, but again, if you look at the incentive, you'll see the behavior, and the union's incentive is to get people unionized. So they're incentivized to tell people that it's, whatever you're going through is really bad, and you're really disadvantaged, and you should be paid more money. So if somebody's not making that much money, obviously, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of convincing to say, hey, you're drastically underpaid. Come with me and I'll get you more money.
Especially if you live like in
human
an
nature.
urban, urban place where there's a lot, cost of living is obvious, like New York, big cities where a lot of these baristas are unionizing. Obviously, I think that's something that also plays into it. Steve loves his Dutch Bros, and their Fiscal brought this point up before, but apparently, I don't know if anybody in the chat has been to Dutch Bros before. I'm hoping we need some clarification here. But apparently something that's actually pretty unique and part of their business model is that, Fiscal, would you like to explain it from your perspective?
So, what I was told, and I've actually never gone because the line's always too long. So if that tells you how popular they are, out here in Phoenix, Arizona, the line typically when they open in the morning is literally wrapping around a city block, essentially. At least when I used to live near one, I would see that almost every morning on my way to work. So basically what I've been told is that they essentially have they hire, kind of attractive people to work there as baristas or whatever. And they're always very upbeat and friendly and interact with the customers a lot. And I guess it's really popular with Gen Z because it's like a way to a low pressure way for them to get their social interaction because they're too awkward to go out and socialize otherwise.
Wow, that's weird to me.
We got some
to socialize. Yeesh.
That's our generation, Russ. You haven't seen it, but some of the stuff that I see on a daily basis is wild.
Well, I tell people it's crazy that I've never used a dating app. I met my wife at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in a goth bar in Chicago. But I guess that was a different time. It was a long, long time ago. So before everyone had a phone on them. I know.
He said, Liberty Twitcher from Twitch, welcome in. I've been to Dutch Bros. Terrible coffee, but amazing purveyor of super high sugar drinks. I've been to a few, but it was on a trip. We only have a room with Joe's around here. Yeah, I'm more of a Tim Hortons Starbucks guy. Shamir will appreciate that.
You got those Timbits.
I can't eat them. I got a nut allergy. I stay to coffee. I'm lucky probably that I can't eat them. That's right, Guff. Everybody, if you haven't joined the Discord, link in description. I'm telling you guys, if you tune in, you look in the Discord every single week and you understand, some of the things that go on leading up to the show, it makes it 10 times more better.
100%. You get all the references too. All the memes.
We have Coach coming in and saying, if I make $7,000 a month in dividends and I'm down $30,000 in cost basis, I still have the income. At least he has the income, right? Welcome
Jesus,
in, Coach.
$7,000 a month. Well, dude, you'd make that back in just under 5 months. In 5 months, you'd be all set.
As long as the value doesn't keep dropping at that same rate.
Surely it wouldn't.
No. And he's paying over $600 a month in margin interest, by the way.
Yeah, we're not fans of using other people's money to invest for us. Some of us kings could retire.
Not unless you're in the insurance industry and you're using the float. I guess that's another story, right?
Investing the float is important if you're in insurance.
So, Russ, how close are you? Obviously, I'm sure the goal for every dividend investor is to, hit one of the 4 stages of FIRE. How close are you to, possibly living off those dividends? Is that something you plan to do?
I haven't really figured it out yet. I'm taking a couple of years off here in 4 years from now when my youngest graduates high school. So I want to wait till all my kids are done with high school. But yeah, I'm going to take 50 to 52 off and just, do a little traveling, create content, live off some dividends, reinvest some, but I mean, honestly, I'm always going to be working, put it that way. So I don't know. I'm always bothered by the retire early part of FIRE. I want financial independence, meaning that I can do what I want to do with who I want on my own terms, when I want, that type of thing. But for me, that's what that means. I don't want to sit on a beach somewhere. I need to be doing something with my mind. I'm always going to have to be creating something, maybe even continuing to work with my hands. I've been working with my hands since I was 18 when I joined the Navy. So it's kind of what I know. So it's a little weird to think that, but you can always make more money. You can always earn more money and make more money, but you can never make time, right? They say the two things that you can never buy more of are time and love. So, if you want more time, you're going to have to be a little bit frugal now, and you're going to have to delay gratification. And I mean, you can try to buy love, I guess, but they say if you want to be loved, just be somebody that's deserving of love, be lovable. So I don't know. That's a different type of dividend.
Hold my beer while I give that a shot.
It's a giant video game, I like to call it, the process of building wealth. But if you guys didn't know, we essentially have questions on Discord, any preloaded viewer questions. We only have Russ for a few more minutes here. So we're going to go on to Matt. And Matt, the Dividend Prophet, asks us, what's the highest amount in money that you've ever spent on a stock or ETF in one buy?
Ooh.
One buy. Well, I'm not going to include my contributions through my work. That's like 21% I'm at what I put in every paycheck. But as one buy, I don't know, probably be Lockheed Martin. I would think, I remember buying a couple shares of them when it was $350 a share. So probably like $700 or something, I guess, in one buy. But that comes to mind. So I don't know, but then there's times that I've sold positions. So when the whole joint venture with the sports streaming app came out and Nextstar dropped, like kind of a flash crash, I sold some other positions, and I, probably a couple thousand in a day there I spent. But I mean, that was money already existing, and I just kind of reshuffled, the deck chairs. But yeah, I don't know, maybe Lockheed Martin, I guess, was like individual stock. So
Fiscal
what is that,
share.
Jeff? You got to grow a beard. Or a bread.
I don't know who he's referring to.
Baking, but
Fiscal, what's your biggest buy? And it's MPW probably.
No, I mean, my biggest individual order of MPW was only like 500 shares for like $1,300 or something. No, my actual biggest buy was my first 100 shares of Intel at $47.
Okay,
Around there.
You go.
By the way, my average is much lower than that now, and I'm actually up considerably on the position. But
probably portfolio reconstruction. I did it. I honestly couldn't tell you. Probably 200, 250, maybe worth of Vici. I don't know. I really don't invest.
Ooh, Vici. I like Vici.
Are we invested in Vici?
Yeah, I like their CEO Ed Petoniak. Really like Ed Petoniak and his, again, just wanting to branch out of just being a casino operator or a casino landlord. And Bolero, some people say it's overpriced bowling, but whatever, people go. And experiential family entertainment, water parks, things like that. So yeah. I like them.
I've definitely been building up a lot of Vici. I think the higher interest rates are definitely a long-term solid buying opportunity. I think they also, for a REIT too, I think they also offer really solid growth potential with the yield too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hard to find. I YOLO'd 3,000 on Tesla. I ended up with an IRA in my old job. Back before I knew anything about investing. Ended up with 10,000 in that account because of that. Pure luck though. There you go, Steve.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
That's what you get for being car simplified, for being a car guy, investing in a car stock. Oh, Dividend Dude comes in and asks, what's your thesis on Lockheed Martin for the long term? He's never really understood it.
Yeah, so the short of it would just be the safety of government contracts. I mean, who can do what they do? They're involved in, obviously, for this government, other governments around the world. They're building things that, how would you come in and start a competitor to Lockheed Martin? I don't know. If you gave me $10 billion, $100 billion, I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a really centralized. I mean, with General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, those are like the big ones.
Yeah.
You got L3 Harris. Yeah, I mean, so there's some other smaller ones, but yeah, I mean, like even Lockheed has the space travel. They do so many things that are. I mean, it's pretty cool. But
and
anyway,
defense budgets tend to get bumped. They never tend to get slashed.
Yeah, there's always going to be defense spending, right? And I know, so the game that a lot of politicians here in the United States play is they'll talk about slashing the budget, but it's usually the spending. So if it was going to be a 10% increase, they'll get it down to a 5% increase and they'll claim victory. And people, you read the headline and it's political games. I mean, it's gone on forever. So
yeah, they argue over how much they're going to raise it, never about actually cutting it.
Yeah, and
that's how you know you've won if you're Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, some years they'll, might struggle a little more than others, but they're pretty intertwined with the defense of the country, and it's been that way for a long time.
So Russ, before you hop out here, are there any stocks right now? Give me your top 3 stocks that you've been adding recently or looking to buy. Last question here.
Oh, yeah. So I've been buying a lot. My number one buy is Agree Realty, ADC, kind of like a baby brother to Realty Income. Do a lot of the same things. And what else have I been buying? Dribbling a little bit into J&J here and there. But then obviously, and then a weird one, it's not a dividend stock, but Harrow Incorporated, ticker HROW, is ophthalmologic, do eye drugs. Again, big fan of the CEO, Mark Baum. So that's one. But as a third dividend one, I don't know. It's kind of like opportunity. You never know what's going to present itself every week. So, or every month. And that's why I think it's funny when people are like, this is going to be my number one. You see those videos in January. This will be my number one buy in the year of 2024. And I always think like, but how do you know that? How could you possibly know in January 1st what your top buy is going to be in middle of December? Like, that's crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just very opportunistic in that regard. And again, like ask Warren Buffett in Berkshire, and he said, I didn't plan on it turning out this way. It was just opportunities, when we see them and we like them, take advantage. So he never intended it to shape out the way it did. It just kind of did. So yeah.
That's it for the journey of life, journey investing. You don't know what's going to go on, but at least you start. I think that's the big takeaway from tonight's live.
Well, keep learning and keep trying to prove yourself wrong about something. Because then, hey, if it's uncomfortable, but if you can prove yourself wrong, that you were wrong about something, well, then you're no longer wrong and you're closer to being, living with truth. So I like that.
Uncomfortability brings growth, everybody. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, no pain, no gain. Last question from Dividend, dude, because we're feeling generous. Why ADC over O?
Growth vector right now. Yeah. Realty Income is so huge. They're massive that they can't. It's going to be really hard for them to do deals that are going to move the needle. So Agree Realty is just so much smaller, and they have tenants that have a little bit better balance sheets. So Agree Realty is going to have a lot. They have a much greater potential for share price appreciation and for their dividend growth. So I like both of them. I hold both of them. 200 shares of Realty Income we have. And then Agree Realty, I'm trying to get up to 100 in one of our retirement accounts. So that's the short of it.
With Realty Income, I'm kind of stuck in a sand hole here because, I'm 18. I'm obviously the growth just isn't there for it. But at the same time, I think it's undervalued relatively, interest rates and all of that. But I think VICI offers me a lot better opportunity. That's the big
thing that's really hurt the REITs, right? Is just, when those rates shot up, it sucked out so many income investors. Because why? If they don't really care about the principal growing and they're just concerned with income, it's a no-brainer in that case. Why would you sit in equity, which is really, and all equities are risky. Some obviously more than others, but I would say that TSLY and Procter & Gamble, they're both risky, but two different varieties of risk there.
Yeah.
One of them's probably running through a dynamite factory with a lit match, but obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's just my opinion right now, which is always subject to change.
We love having different opinions on the channel. Well, Russ, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the Cash Flow Kings.
Yeah,
absolute treat. Plug anything you need. Plug your channel, your Twitter, anything now.
Oh, you can go to the Dapper Dividends. Just search it on YouTube or dapperdividends.com website. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, Russ, thank you for coming on. Absolute pleasure. We'll speak to you again real soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. So we're going after hours tonight because some stuff went down through the week, and we need to discuss it. I know, we may have forgot, a segment or two, but I know for those of you in the Discord, you know. Well, it's our Know Your Role and Shut Your Mouth segment of the week.
Shut up, bitch! Oh my God!
That may sound heinous, but some more heinous things went on this week for the Cash Flow King, some viewers here. And Fiscal, I don't know if you want to show your hands on camera or whatever, but we had to go to war this week. We got some battle scars, you could even say. So what essentially went on this week is this dude, I don't even know his name. I thought it was like a busboy at first. I didn't know if he was, he was one of the YieldMaxers, and he came into the Discord on, what was it, Tuesday? Tuesday? Tuesday.
Yeah, I think, it was definitely a while ago, early in the week,
which is why it may have faded out of our minds a little bit. But essentially, the guy, he was slandering our name. He came in. I recognized his name immediately because in the past, him, Kamar, and all the other high yield community or whatever, they were attacking me and Double D's, Dividend, dude. Frankly, and they were making a lot of, petty remarks regarding our age and how they're just kids, and basically putting down our voice and our opinion, which we definitely believe is right if you've been listening to some of the YieldMax episodes we've been doing. So essentially, I remembered him very vividly from that interaction. There's actually screenshots. There's proof of this guy, going after me and Double D's, putting us down because of our age. So, Fiscal, on Tuesday or whatever day it was, this guy comes in, and he's immediately, I remember the guy. I'm like, what you doing in here, buddy? You're coming crawling back to us. And Fiscal, I had a migraine, so I don't know when the guy left. From what I'm hearing, it was about like 4 or 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, it was like, so after he was like, I don't even know what this place is, or I don't know what if I'm not welcome to be here or whatever. And like basically when he said that, I told him
there's literally a screenshot, and I'm pulling it up right now.
I said, hey, you're more than welcome to be here as long as you're not like outright just trying to, scam somebody. And he never said anything after that. So he probably left like within a minute or so of that interaction. So yeah. But like pretty much all that happened is he comes in, you're like, hey, like what
are you doing in here?
What are you doing here? Like, if this was, you gave him like a little bit of a poke, like
I'll
nothing.
Be honest, I did a little bit.
You didn't, but it's not like you jumped all over him or anything. You said like a couple little remarks, and like on a scale of like how badly you were roasting him on like 1 to 10, it was like a 2.
I wasn't even trying to. I was asking him what he was doing there.
Yeah. I mean, you were giving me like a little bit of a hard time though.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was a little bit,
but like again, a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of 10. And then what does he do?
So then
I got jumped on a Discord server.
This guy he's nearly 60. He's a senior citizen. This guy's a grown man. He gets on YouTube and he goes on his channel, which nobody's heard of. And he goes, all right, guys, we got some stuff. I got jumped in a Discord server. And you could see him at the beginning of the video. He was getting hyped up. You knew that was going to get him over the hump for monetization. We all know why he's doing it. He knows the YieldMax dividend's getting cut soon. He's getting all excited. He's up in his chair. So this dude, he basically makes like a 10-minute video slandering me, and he makes these claims that we were like bashing him for owning YieldMax or whatever.
He never mentions your name though.
Yeah, he never mentions. Never mentions my name. So I just don't understand. You can't be at that age and acting like that, and playing the victim card, which unfortunately the word victim and YieldMax shareholder for most of that community like to go hand in hand, you could say.
They definitely have a victim complex. Like,
definitely,
the world's against us. They're trying to.
I know it's so petty.
They're all trying to come after us and tell us what we can do with our money.
So this guy's crying, claiming that he was being jumped on and kicked on and punched on in a Discord server. and he's playing victim. He's crying, and I think it's pretty funny because that was his highest engaged video that he's done in a long time. I looked, and magically, what happens a few days later? Guys, I got monetized. Oh, I got monetized. We hit the threshold.
Oh yeah, and then he posted the picture.
Then he posted the picture. So then, some of his his butt buddies came in, and they were trying to come in the comment section. And me and Fiscal actually, we were talking with one in the comment section. You were replying to some of the comments. He was saying 1 second he was flip flopping a lot. He was peace and love, blessings to you. Hope your career goes great. And then he's flip flopping a little bit here. And this were some of the behind the scenes messages that we got access to. This is Cashflow Kings exclusive material, everybody. And these were words about me. And guys, YieldMax shareholders, I this isn't really a good representation of peace and love. I said something little piece of shit, but I kept it clean. This is why I stay off at times, LOL. Like the personal insults. Now, Fiscal, did I make any personal insults?
No, I wouldn't categorize anything you said as a personal insult.
From where I'm from, keep that same energy in person. The last time this happened, I was accused of threatening to kill someone. LOL. Wow. Fiscal, that's not cool behavior, especially for somebody who runs a dancing YouTube channel.
Wow. Okay. I guess the Backstreet Boy over there is going to come up to Buffalo and get you, huh?
Oh, you can't dox me. You can't. Guys, I'll be completely honest. I was driving a lot this week. I was pretty nervous. I was looking all in the mirrors.
Got to check your mirrors.
I was scared he was going to
6 o'clock, buddy.
I know. I was scared he was going to throw a boogie bomb at me and we'd have a dance off. I'm not ready for that, Fiscal. I'm still got a kind of a gimpy leg. My ankle's a little, sprained right now.
You're
I was worried,
served, sir. You're going to get served and then it's on.
I was worried I'd have to throw down, and by throw down I mean do dance moves. So you know what, it's unfortunate that happened. Unfortunately being threatened over YieldMax and a bunch of false stipulations that this old guy's made up for engagement on YouTube.
Ryan, look, that's what guys that are really, really secure about their investment thesis do. They physically threaten people that dare to maybe disagree or point out any of the possible flaws in their logic, because that's what you do if you really are sure in your reasoning. You threaten anybody that disagrees. It's obvious.
Obviously. And obviously, we wanted to give them an open platform, and we said, hey, we did an open, discussion live panel the other night. You were on there, Double D's was on there, John was on there. I said, any of you guys can come on, we had people send it to the Khmer Discord. We wanted to have some open conversations, ask them some of the questions they're afraid to ask themselves. And Fiscal, how many of them showed up?
0.
All right, so there you go, everybody. That's your weekly update from us. That's your know your role and shut your mouth segment. So you're still welcome to come on the Cashflow Kings, but keep that same energy, and I will challenge you to a dance off. All right, what an absolute week, Fiscal. What a week. If you guys didn't know, make sure to check out tomorrow, Sunday, 12 o'clock Eastern. We have our weekly recap.
That's true. We do.
Are we going to share our monthly dividends? Our monthly dividends, how much we collected throughout the month? Should we start adding that? Because it's a bad earnings week.
I mean, we can for sure. I was actually, I was actually going to, for myself, because I get almost no dividends in February. I was just going to do a video of February and March, but I'll share them on our update too if you want. It's no problem.
Tune in, everybody. I can say it will be real nice. All right, everybody. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed our little after-hour segment. When it's past 9 o'clock, bad things can go down. There you go. Fiscal's rocking my own merch, and I'm not even. I feel ashamed.
I know. No, literally, I felt so betrayed at the beginning with the matching jerseys, and I'm the only one rocking the merch. Unbelievable. Most epic anime betrayal of all time.
I know. It could be even worse than Khmer. All right. Thank you all for tuning in once again. We had a very strong show throughout the night. We appreciate all the viewership, the live comments. Chat was buzzing tonight. Next week, everybody, we have a debate going down on here, and I'm hearing sources it could get heated.
Whoa.
We have Double D's and Dissector, and
Dissector, you are an idiot.
things could go down. And I'm just saying, if Dissector comes on, that clip will be played a lot. So you'll want to be there next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Also, me and Fiscal are going on a podcast this week.
It's true.
On Thursday. So Brewing Great Returns with the coach. Be there, be square. We're going rated R. I heard we're going rated R, Fiscal.
Arr.
Arr.
I'm always happy to go rated R. You know me.
We'll bring out the shades. It'll be a good time. All right. Thank you all for watching. Smash the like button for us if you haven't already. Follow our Twitch at Cashflow Kings and X Cashflow Kings YT. Thank you all for watching. Do dividend stocks, not drugs. And of course, remember, cash flow is king. Oh, yeah.